Ellie Goulding has been a mainstay in the electro-pop genre for more than a decade now. From her thrilling debut Lights to her magnum opus and sophomore album Halcyon to cohesive bangers in Delirium that further cemented her status as pop royalty. In 2020, I did a reaction and review to Brightest Blue, an extremely personal album that came out during the pandemic, and I even did a video essay on the messy promo leading up to that record. This year, in 2023, I am glad to be able to review Goulding's 5th studio album, Higher Than Heaven, her first record in almost 3 years. This album is already infamous due to media outlets misquoting her, calling it her least personal album to date. People neglect to say that she also thought that it was her best album to explore other parts of herself, and that she had found it relieving to be able to just make music and not share personal aspects of her life that were too deep. This is a sharp pivot from her last record, Brightest Blue, in which she shared a lot of insecurities and just personal thoughts. On this channel, I've given other artists flack for impersonal sounding, almost anonymous pop. However, in Goulding's case, she is an established artist with a decades-long career, and she's not an upstart who really needs to build a brand, so I do give her a pass here. I can't help but feel bad for Ellie Goulding because she was misquoted again for joking that she wrote her lyrics with an AI on an interview. It got so bad that she had to reply to a wannabe Pop Crave account. However, she's always been a victim to these sorts of things. There's this one really funny account called Fake Show Business News that just says the most insane things about her. Higher Than Heaven was originally slated for a February release date before it was pushed back twice to April. It had 4 singles: Easy Lover with Big Sean, which came out last July, which honestly I thought deserved a lot more love. It was this really smooth, anthemic Greg Kurstin production that would have killed in the mid-2010s. Let It Die, the second single, was a dark pop banger that really failed to light up the charts. Like a Savior, her third single, produced by Cause, one of the architects for future nostalgia, honestly did deserve to smash. It's just such a delectable earworm. Prior to the album's drop, Goulding reunited with longtime collaborator Calvin Harris for Miracle, a late 90s trance pop throwback that went #1 in the UK. While it's not on this album, I do think it's pretty noteworthy. The final single was By the End of the Night, another Cause production, which honestly is one of my favorite late night driving jams lately. I'll be honest when I say that Higher Than Heaven is far from Ellie Goulding's best work. Some of my friends who are longtime fans of hers told me that it's her worst album. However, I think it's a pretty solid collection of dance pop tracks with some elements of disco throughout. It's very similar to Diamonds and Dance Floors by Ava Max, another collection of catchy hook-driven pop. Goulding's ear for hooks and dedication to cohesion make Higher Than Heaven worth a listen at least. However, I really do have to hand it to Cause, who has produced some of my favorite tracks on this. I imagine it's a preview of the magic that he has cooked up for Dua Lipa's upcoming 3rd album, should he return for that. At times, I actually did see myself hearing Dua on these tracks. Midnight Dreams, the album's opener, is so funky it felt like Ellie's take on future nostalgia sound, but with her own personal touch to it. It's just really funky and explosive. The title track is another great slice of electropop. It's this rich, melodic, and well-produced pop banger. The adherence to song structure makes it such a smooth listen. Greg Kurstin, per usual, is a great collaborator for Goulding. He'd been the executive producer for Delirium. Love Goes On, a personal highlight of mine, reminds me that he and Goulding are capable of making magic together. That track in particular just really gets stuck in your head for weeks on end. He also produced Just For You, another song that has a Julia Michaels co-write on it. It's very unique in that it's a love song about being hung up on an ex rather than one that's more straightforward like the ones on the record. Watt and Happy Perez, prolific producers that I have chatted about before on my Lana videos, Assist on How Long, which closes out the standard version. It's a track that really does stand out from the monotonous sort of feel that the rest of the record has. I'll be honest when I say that reviewing this record was a bit of a challenge for me, as I'm a very lyric-based reviewer. That's why I really did thrive when I was reviewing Lana Del Rey's album and Taylor Swift's works. Goulding really did mean it when she said that this album feels impersonal. There's a focus on melody and production here that's very admirable, but it's not exactly my cup of tea. That's not to say that Goulding is a bad songwriter. I actually think that she's a great songwriter. Her previous works prove that, but on here, she really does focus on the idea of making backing hooks. The subject matter here is really rote. It's all about romance, the dance floor, people who are bad for you. Goulding's voice has always been her X factor, and it's used to great effect here. Many of the songs really do take advantage of her wispy voice quality, and additionally, the way that it's layered throughout the entire record really does feel cohesive and rich. I found myself more in love with the bonus tracks than the core record. However, there is a 3-track run here that I thought was really remarkable. Temptation was yet another standout for me. It really does feel like this throwback sounding track. It really does sound like this long lost 80s synth pop classic. The backing vocals are very heavenly. Intuition follows that up with this truly dream pop banger where Goulding really layers her vocals immaculately. Very slick, it's very hooky, and closing that out is Taste Like You, which has to be one of my favorites. Like the garage influence, the synths, that chorus that's really ready for stadium arenas is present there. I really did feel like I was flying when I first heard the chorus, which I don't really feel that often when I listen to pop music. That was a quality of pop music I really did like in the mid 2010s, where when you listen to a chorus, you really just felt like you were part of the song. There's this impersonality behind pop, not just lyrics-wise, but just in general, where you just cannot insert yourself into the song's narrative. And while I did mention it earlier, By the End of the Night has to be the best single choice out of all of the songs here. It really does make a lot of sense because I am obsessed with it. It reminds me of another underrated Ellie banger, Lost and Found from Delirium, but much more modernized and optimized for the trends of today. Like, the lyrics are just so romantic, and the way that the synths play in the back and how Ellie delivers the track is just emblematic of the record, but also a clear highlight. It is definitely my favorite off the record. Overall, Higher Than Heaven's a well-made pop album that's neither ambitious or personal. It's a straightforward collection of tour-ready, radio-friendly pop that succeeds for the most part. I'm happy to award it a 7.8 out of 10. It's a recommended for pop fans who are looking for something that's low stakes, almost no skip. It's a pop record that you can dance to. Much like Selena Gomez's Rare in 2020, this is going to be my go-to weekend house cleaning music. And that's a wrap. So I wasn't really planning on covering this, but someone had mentioned wanting this in my comment section for my Trolls video essay, which I posted the other day. And I did sit down and listen to this record, and I was like kind of feeling it, so I made this really quickly. This video is not up to par with my other videos in terms of reviews. There were no visuals this era, so it was kind of hard to make this video. So apologies if it feels kind of crude and rushed. A quick shout out to my members, and I will be back with other videos and stuff, but I do feel like I need a break. As always, feel free to comment your thoughts below in the comment section. I try to respond to just about every comment, but sometimes I might not be able to see it, so keep it appropriate and clean, and I will chat with you there.